Welcome back, everybody, to our weekly energy report. My name is Bryndis. I'm airing here from transCODES, and I'm your weekly energy coach and energy healer and energy trainer. We're going to talk about this a little bit. We will be reflecting on the collective energies for energetically sensitives, empaths, and people who find themselves in a place of, like, what most people probably call awakening, here for the week of the 19th to the 25th of January 2018. And if this is your very first encounter here with me on YouTube, then know that I'm doing this live so that you can ask questions, that you can comment. I love engaging with you, and I've done a few changes here in the last week. If you are expecting the crypto news, then you will have to look at a different video stream. I've done the crypto spiritual weekly, as I call it. I've done that just an hour ago. It was the first out of my weekly crypto energy reports, and I don't know how that went. I was mostly speaking into emptiness, so I wasn't really sure. This is what it looks like, and you'll find similarities here with the energy barometer that I will talk about here in a second. But once more, please use this opportunity to ask life questions, okay? My job is to help people through the challenges of current collective energies that we are all subdued to. And this last week was quite a difficult week. We're going to review a little bit, and then I want to talk to you about how to counteract those push-pull energies that we are experiencing right now, and also what it means to hit rock bottom and how to work yourself out step by step. And I have a little surprise for all of you here, so bear with me to the very end. Something really cool that Jeff and I are starting tomorrow. And another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is what self-healing actually means. There's a lot going on here at transCODES in our self-healing community. I'm going to introduce a few things to you, and also practical tips, how to deal with these energies, and what you can do on the long run to work through that. My special topic of the day will be the heart mind. I'm going to try to explain that to you. As most of you know, I'm not preparing for those live sessions. So if you just want to ask questions when you can't understand, or when I'm getting too cryptic, or when I'm getting off topic, then please use this opportunity here. And let's start with smashing that like button. As you know, I'm not monetizing these videos, so like and subscribe. This is the payment for me. And also, if you wish to have a personal energy coaching session with me, I have offered free initial coaching sessions in the past, and I'm still doing this, but I have to let you know that due to the workload, I won't be able to do this for much longer. My energies are prioritized now, and I have to take care of those people who sign up for mental coaching, who sign up for abundance coaching, and who are in the Sacred Self-Healing program with me, and especially our heart warriors. So use that opportunity to ask for a personal energy session with me. All right. Let me know what country you were from. I see Canada. Good to see you, and I feel so good, I have to say, after the first stream here on Facebook with the crypto spiritual group. I wasn't sure how this was going to go, and you may think that I got this all figured out, but I don't. And like right now, I'm dealing with issues here that have to do with software. I have to do the maneuvering here with my software, and this isn't always easy. So I feel really good to have you guys here. Thank you for being here with me. So we usually start with a little bit of a review, then I give an overview, and then we go into the forecast for next week, and then we talk about the energy tips. One of the instrumental tools that I'm using, as some of you guys know, is this energy barometer that you see down here. And I'll make this a little bigger for you so that you can see what this entails. Okay, so with this energy barometer, I'm trying to give you sort of a quick overview over what to expect next week. Here you go. And some of you followers will notice that this is actually a good thing. So it's only in the orange area after weeks and weeks of like really challenging energies. And yes, there will be time this week to relax a bit, okay, and to take care of the things that are really important to you. Good time to spend some time with your loved ones and your family and focus on, you know, really being present in your heart. This will also be very beneficial for your personal abundance. But I'm going to talk about this in detail. First, let's look into the review. You know, many of you guys have been sick this past week, and I've gotten a lot of reports from people that they've had this either prolonged respiratory infection that I talked about last week, or this like really quick purge, as many called it, like a real severe stomach bug. And this was in the energies last week. I tried to prepare you for this a little bit. Some of that has to do with our nervous system and the fear that was coming in. So that's a normal reaction, you know, of our system to trying to purge this out. So if you had a bit of a rough week last week with that, or others reported that they had a lot of head stuff, you know, like here, of course, the sinus stuff, and most of the energetically sensitives that I work with here in these private groups and sacred self-healing community had severe etheric buzzing going on, severe energies coming in, especially around Saturday and Sunday. There was a noticeable shift. And if you had a hard time sleeping, if you woke up and couldn't get back, or if you just had a problem with containing those energies, all right, then know that you're not alone. Okay, this is what I do these collective energy updates for, to inform you that these things are actually quite typical right now, and what they mean, you know, especially this huge wave that was coming in is not always the same for everybody. So please don't try to find this deep meaning in all these energetic sensations that you have. Get used to the fact that you are energetically sensitive, and that this is also a gift for you, because it allows you to discern energies. My personal mission here, and what I'm devoted to, as most of you know, is to provide people with this kind of roadmap, you know, to navigate through these times. Okay, and at transCODES, I do literally 24/7 coaching, energy coaching, giving people empowerment and having energy sessions, public energy sessions that people can join to train their energy. Hey, London. Hey, Australia. Yes, wonderful. I see all your guys' comments. Yes, something huge is happening. That's correct. There is this correctional wave that we've been talking about forever. And as energetically sensitive or empaths, you feel this before it actually happens. So a lot of that got reflected in the cryptocurrency world, in the financial world, and this is the theme of the week, is this restructuring of the power in our political and financial systems. Basically, you know, the powers that be, or that are, you know. And so this is what you're feeling. It's massive, guys. It's massive. This is why I'm going through the effort, of reporting about cryptocurrencies, because they are the reflection of this restructuring, of this movement. Okay. And in order to keep these energy updates a little more structured and also shorter, I've put those aside and do those right before the energy update. So once more, if you want to know about crypto energies, then please see the crypto spiritual videos here on the same channel or Facebook. Those are aired at Facebook. All right. So looking back at the purge and the problem, containing energies. Last week I prepared you guys for needing to work on the capacity of light, the capacity of energy. This is the theme for the entire year, and on many occasions, if you've listened to the Hard Warrior radio episode about 2018 energies, or some of my other predictions for 2018, then you've heard me say that January is kind of like the preview for the entire year, okay? Our job this year is to increase our container, to increase what we can hold, okay? You can't pour a gallon of water into a small cup. You have to work on, enlarging your capacity. And this is probably what you felt here with these really intense energies from last week coming in. Is that, your container, your heart field, really, that is the one that defines your energetic capacity, is not yet large enough to hold all that and to work with this in a constructive way. So last week I asked you guys to do a congruence check. Are you really true to yourself, and are the things that you're engaging in, are the energies that you focus on, do they actually represent who you or what you truly are and what you truly want, and more so, how you want it. And this has to do with your capacity, because if you look back a few years, and depending on how old you are, of course, but, and you look at some of your goals, they are determined by your capacity or your consciousness level at that very moment. And so as these huge waves come in, you're going to have to learn how to ride them and how to be adaptable enough and enlarge your vision, enlarge your perception, and your tools, of course, that are needed to do this, so that you can, co-create a higher vibrational goal. And most of you awakening people or empaths have really, really cool goals. But these goals cannot be manifested if you don't do your groundwork. Your groundwork is the capacity that you can hold, the space that you can inhabit. All week, last week, the energy sessions that we were doing here at transCODES had to do with this. This is very important that you don't forget this. It doesn't matter what your intentions are. It doesn't even matter how determined you are, third chakra. No, you have to be able to put this into the context of your entire ability to even sustain in those higher vibratory places. And that's coming in through your heart chakra, through your heart center. And here at transCODES, we train you how to work this. By the way, we have this weekend a phenomenal energy intensive come up, a training intensive in which we teach people through this new way of learning that we've developed here at transCODES in energy sessions, how to ground their energy, how to center their energy, and how to self-clear. And in a few minutes here, when I get into the forecast, you will understand why I'm stressing this out so much. Without these basic abilities, to ground, to center, and to self-clear, you basically at the will of outer energies, of collective energies, of mainstream media, of other people's energies, and so forth. So a lot of what we are talking about here has to do with your etheric immune system, and you have to build this muscle. If you don't pay attention to your energies. You will continue to feel like a victim. So this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, is a wonderful opportunity for you to learn and to train this within yourself here through remote energy sessions at transCODES. Yes, and those of you who've never really been in a energy session and think this is woo-woo or something that, like some new age kind of stuff, I've been doing this for years and years, which is a free session here called Connect with Your True Self. The beginning and the end of our journey, really the most important part of learning how to become real and how to really work with our own energies and to do this energetic groundwork is to connect within, is to connect with our true self. And this has been going on for I don't know, 5 years, I think, every month for free here at transCODES. It's on, when is that, Friday? No, Saturday night. I'm looking at my calendar here. 10 p.m. Denver time. Please go to transCODES and register for this if you're curious how these energy sessions work and how we handle this here at transCODES in our transmission forum. All right. Other than that, the last week's energies, what they really did to us is kind of like a reality check. It's a bit of a downer, and many of you have perhaps hit rock bottom. And I want to be compassionate about this because not only, this is, by the way, a question I frequently get, do I actually go through these energies myself? The answer is yes, absolutely. I may go through them a little earlier than the majority of people, so this has to do with a person's sensitivity. And of course, it's my day job, so I open myself up for these energies and read them out 4 to 6 weeks before they come in. So, I always seem so cool about it, but I go through the same things, symptoms, and sensations and emotions that you do. I just am able to disengage a little more and have a bit more tools, to center myself. But this is what it enables me to report about them and to help people to get through this. All right. So don't ever think I'm just sitting there and reading charts or whatever. No, this is the nature of energetic sensitivity, that you are fully present in the moment and you are fully experiencing it. And that's probably one of the best energy tips that I can ever give to you, is to be fully present. And it is your heart center, your heart field, your heart connection that allows you to let this go through you and not engage. So in the past, I've talked quite a bit about detaching and disengaging, non-reaction. So the art of allowing things to go through you and catching things before they latch on. And I know those of you who've been following me for years, you may feel like or think that I'm like a broken record, but this cannot be said often enough, because when we go low, and this is really important for you to understand, we lose that connection. We disconnect from our heart field, and it's almost impossible for us, to feel and even to believe into the existence of it. I like to compare this with when it's winter time, just like right now. We have I don't know, maybe 10 degrees here right now, Fahrenheit, so minus degrees, which is, by the way, why I'm airing from my office, because it's easier here and I don't have to deal with the light coming in. But is that it's really hard to imagine yourself running around, with just shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops when it's that cold outside. And when you, those of you that live in warmer areas or warmer parts of the world, you may find it difficult to imagine what it's like to be in snow like we are right now. So this is the nature of our subjective perception, is that, when we cannot really see the sun, we kind of lose trust that the sun is there. However, because, we have a frontal lobe, because we have this higher understanding of things, and we understand the concept, like say, of the earth rotating and so forth, we get it. We know that the sun is not gone forever just because it's nighttime. We know that the heat is not gone forever just because it's a winter season. But for some reason, we fail to apply this to, our daily ups and downs. And that's what this heart field and working on your capacity to hold and inhabit your center, which is the gateway, to your true self, to your soul. All right, to inhabit that and to fully occupy that, and to not allow other people or any other energy to intrude or violate this. And this is what we train here, okay? But for this coming week, it's really important that you understand that whenever you are disconnected from this, whatever triggered it from the outside, that's when you become susceptible. And that's, what's creating the fear, uncertainty, and doubt in you. And as many of you may have experienced live last week, your self-worth. Your self-worth on all levels. And so many of you are now in this sort of delayed type of situation to reprogram themselves to abundance. Because quite frankly, the biggest issue with us is when we go into this disconnect. It's almost like we go into a negative on our bank account. It's like we don't believe that we have the ability to connect again. And then comes this whole sort of domino, of like we feel like we're not deserving it. And depending on our inner child nature, we feel abandoned, or we don't feel validated, or we feel hostile, we feel betrayed, and so forth. I mean, you guys had a lot of that in the last 6-8 weeks. And this will continue this year, just so you know. So if you never get to the bottom of that and don't allow yourself to literally hit rock bottom, it's unlikely that your ego will agree to working through this and to changing this. So just a little tip here, okay? Allow yourself to hit rock bottom, because this is usually where the most growth takes place. So coming to the overview and also sort of hinting at the forecast, working with abundance is something that you need to literally program yourself into, because the collective experience conditions us to constantly go into lack. So most people actually energize what they don't have, what they can't do, and their unhappiness and all that unknowingly, because they keep on seeing, these things that other people have or whatever that they want, and that makes them literally redirect their energies from going into abundance into lack. Okay, so be careful with this, guys. Don't energize what you don't have yet. Always, always align yourself to how you want to feel when, whatever it is that your goal is, when you have that, or when you are that. And by the way, saying these words, having an R and being, the overall theme of 2018 is to moving from having into being. Okay, so the definition of our worth and with it, of course, our expectations, and this whole sort of third chakra push into where we want to be needs to be redefined, needs to be reprogrammed. And one of the things that I can tell you up front here is, besides, of course, paying attention to your, whether you energize lack or not, is that you have to detect your ego stories, okay, the justifications, the delays, the procrastinations, because they give you vital cues as to what it is energetically that is blocking your abundance. The surprise that I promised is that Jeff and I decided to do a 21-day life energy coaching lesson. So every day we're going to come on here on YouTube Live, this channel, at 1 p.m. and we're going to give you guys sort of cues, hints and tips, and sort of a homework of the day, how you can reprogram yourselves, how you can break your matrix programming. That's going to be really exciting. And it's not going to take that long. It's going to be like 15 minutes and then maybe 10, 15 minutes for you guys' questions and comments. So please come here. We're starting tomorrow with day 1 of breaking through the matrix programming. This is a window of opportunity that I've worked out here. A wonderful time for doing this. Okay? So yeah, I'm excited about this. I hope you all come. And I promised that I would explain what the heart mind is. I think you've got the gist already. I mean, it's all about, sort of being real, being true to you. But the major way to get there is to actually stay, or to find the way to your heart, and then to hold it, then to stay there. Okay, and so when we are able to connect our mental thinking with our intellectual, the mental field that we have, with our heart field, it's actually not so much that we have to connect them, we have to merge them. It's like, if you will, you enlarging your heart field, encompassing your mental field. And someone who knows how to do this can reach a whole different level of emotional, intellectual, and spiritual maturity. It's spiritual intelligence, really, and that's something that hasn't really been researched that much. But here for us at transCODES, this is almost like a given. We work with this every day. For the last 10 years, we train people how to do this, and we have a lot of people here that have experienced this firsthand, that have, gone through our programs with us, either in self-study or through the Heart Warrior program, in one-on-one coaching sessions, or any of the other platforms that we have. And by the way, those of you here that are watching this video right now, please give, the rest of the people an idea of what these things help, or how these things that we teach here at transCODES, and also how we teach them, what this has done for you. Okay, when I talk about this, it always sounds like a promo, but if you've ever asked yourself, how I manage all this, with all these different things that I do, transCODES and daily energy coaching, and writing session reports, and daily energy sessions, and Heart Warriors Radio and Heart Warrior program, and doing these videos, and doing at least one webinar or workshop a week, and having 3 kids, and having pets, and a family, and loved ones, then the answer is simple, and I said this before. It's not my determination, guys. It's my devotion to what I'm doing. And if you don't know how to tap into that, from your 3rd chakra, that's determination, to your 4th chakra, devotion, then you need to work on this capacity. You need to work on your heart mind, because this is a whole new paradigm of guidance that you get. I don't think about what I need to do next. I don't think about what I'm going to talk about. I don't think about, how to deal with issues. I deal with stuff as it comes up, and I always deal with it from within my heart center. And yes, I make mistakes, lots of mistakes, but I embrace them, because I know that this is where the growth happens. So the forecast here for next week is, that you're going to be asked to disengage, and that's mostly from your lower vibratory attachments that you have. That requires training, all right? So learning how to manage your energy is instrumental for that. You're going to be asked to really understand that your journey is a spiral and not a ladder. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow in the 21 days live energy coaching. Because, it really isn't 21 days. It really isn't 24 steps or whatever. That's just our ego's linearity, that creates that illusion that if we went from one step to the next, that we've mastered a level. Our spiritual journey or consciousness journey is not like that. It's a spiral. So in order to get where you want to be, you've got to agree that you have to go back to step one all the time. It's a constant reprogramming, constant adapting, constant making mistake, correcting, adapting, and resetting in your heart. And if you don't have that reference point in you, what to reset yourself to, what to occupy, what to inhabit, then you have issues with your boundaries, then you have issues with other people's emotions, you have issues with your energetic sensitivity, you have issues with your physical, you have issues with all your manifestation because you have no reference point. And like I said before, a couple of weeks ago, if you don't believe in anything, you're going to fall for everything. And falling for everything is basically falling for the karmic collective experience. For the societal stuff that we are bombarded with. All right, and so, the whole point, of understanding that it's a cycle or a spiral, is to stop beating yourself up. Gosh, guys, this is a circle. Your life is not a stairway to heaven or hell. Your life is a sphere. Get this. And your heart mind is your inner navigator. And that functions on a higher vibratory level than your nervous system and even your mind, your ego mind. So once more for next week, watch out for your ego story. Every time you detect delay, justification, positionalities, excuses, procrastinations, you're buying into your ego's story. And of course, the bigger story of your life, which is I'm a victim, I'm this, I'm that. That's all the self-worth stuff. Pay attention to that. And my big, almost like, I don't know if I can say commitment, but for this weekend, since it's going to be a little less intense, and also just judging by the energies that are coming in, which are very soft, very feminine, in conjunction with the masculine energies, is that it's a good time for love. Yes, it's a Mobius strip. That's a very good analogy. I can put up a picture here in the edited version. Yeah, so it's a good time for love. It's a good time for joy. And please don't mistake pleasure with joy. Okay, joy is something that you enjoy and that creates more joy for the people around you. Pleasure is something that comes from your second chakra, and we'll still have to deal with a little bit of that coping, and wanting to go into like, just wanting to feel good or eating the gallon of ice cream or whatever. Just pay attention to this, okay? The grip of that is getting a little looser, so you're going to get past your coping mechanisms more easily. And remember that joy, as opposed to pleasure, which can be a distraction, but joy has a synergetic effect. It creates more. All right, so think about that. And those of you who want to really understand the bigger picture of this week's energies, you can go into contemplation of where were you 1997, 1998. Not geographically, of course, but I mean in regards to your goals. And how you perceived yourself and where, you wanted to be 20 years later. We are in a repeat cycle of that. And what this will show you is how much you've already grown, how much you've already out-vibrated, these initial goals. Now, those of you who are younger, of course, can't do that. But those of you who've been around the spiritual corner for a while, go in there. Feel back into the 1997, 1998 energies. For me, those were big years. This is when I became pregnant with my first child. And so it has, of course, changed everything. But massively, what has changed is, my outlook on life and what I want to be. Where my goals back then were mostly third chakra goals, like what I can do, they are now in like, what can I provide? What can I, create for others? And that's a major shift in vibration here for myself. So I'm not really doing so much different things today. I'm just using it differently. And I'm allowing my heart mind to guide me versus just using my mental mind. That's, by the way, also why I sucked so much as day trader back then when I did this as a hobby, because I tried to just, do this by analysis and using my intellectuality. But that didn't really work that well. That's also the reason why I'm doing really well in cryptos, because I'm using my heart mind. I'm using my discernment that comes through that. Yes, no longer trying to follow others as much. And this is huge this week, this week, but also this year, is to really say goodbye to this externalization of your powers. Okay, so you got to find that power within. And with it, in regards to abundance and goals, here a quick tip from me. It's not so much about what you want. Shift your attention to how you want it. And this leads me to the energy tip for this week. Guys, if you're still dealing with the digestive upset, yes, it's going to get a little better this week. But my tip for you, herb-wise, is chew on ginger root. This is what I did last week. That may not be everybody's cup of tea, but ginger is really, really helpful in any way or form. Ginger oil, ginger fragrance, ginger root itself, pickled ginger. And if you can't deal with ginger, then go in. Get fennel teas. Okay, or chew on fennel seeds. This will help your energy to calm down. We still have for the next week issues with our small intestines. Okay, and a lot of that has to do with the detoxing that is taking place. And I've talked about this the last 2 weeks, and now I'm getting serious. Guys, do a 3-day detox, a reboot detox. You don't have to fast, just do it with liquids. Freshly squeezed fruit juices and vegetable juices and broths. If you need to have a little bit of substance, eat oatmeal. Anybody who has digestive upsets right now, eat oatmeal and chew on ginger roots, guys. That will help you through this week. The energy tips in our different layers of our energy body are as follows. Physically, you need to move a little more. This has to do with your digestion, and as most of you also know, your digestion is directly linked with your immune system. So please do everything that you can this week that you already found out for yourself. Or if you haven't, then seek a naturopathic doctor or, any health practitioner that can help you with this to strengthen your immune system. I cannot stress this enough. For the next 6 weeks, we're still in this immune system attack. All right? Take this seriously, guys. Emotionally, it's a good time for going into how do I truly feel? And it's a good time for love too, this next week. So go there. And even if you get mad at your partner or mad at your kids, remind yourself, reset into your heart field. Remind yourself that they're humans too, and that they most likely haven't learned any of these tools that you already have, and stay in the moment, be present with them without taking things too personally. Okay, peace, guys. Peace for this week. And mentally, we're going to talk about this in the 21 Days series. You're going to have to really work on reframing some of your expectations and your ego stories. And here a tip from me. Whenever you run into this inner dialogue that starts with, if I only had, if I only was, if I only could. That's your ego talking. That's your ego story. Scratch that. Ditch that. It's bullshit, guys. It's you buying into your lack. Buying into you need something from the outside. Use this week to catch yourself on that and to reframe this into, no, I already have that. Or I don't even need that. Okay? Spiritually, on an emotional level, it's love. On a spiritual level, it's more the joy that I mentioned earlier, to align yourself to gratitude and appreciation, the joy of life, even if you're going through a tough time. Okay? Really go into, not trying to fight, not trying to convince others. Try to embody the peaceful warrior, if you know what that means. And energetically, we're working on the same as physically, our etheric immune system. So, guys, really, really important tip for this week. Clear your house. Get rid of those fear energies that were in here for these last weeks. Especially, the last week. Get rid of that. Clear your house. Clear yourself. Self-clearing. Very important. Okay? You've got to know how to do this. Talked a lot about this, and I will continue to talking about this, because that is, one of these major tools that you can learn. Also, what helps you is to, like how I recommended to come to the True Self remote energy session, to explore yourself a little more and to try to see the larger picture and to really see how all your struggles are really just preparation for something bigger, for something greater. Our energies are going to be moving from our first and second chakra more into the third, and then by Saturday, Sunday, they're going to be wanting to switch into our fourth, while, these massive sixth chakra energies that we've been experiencing here in these past weeks are now wanting to merge with your expression, with becoming true. So we have these two circles going on, okay, here in your upper chakras and in your lower chakras, and they all want to move into your heart. And this will be going on for the next 21 days. That's why we're using that time to help you how to reprogram. Now, let me ask you guys, since I'm at the end here of my energetic tips, what are some of the things that you've struggled with the most last week? And give me the opportunity to comment or answer on how you can use energy work to deal with this. Does anybody want to share? Yes, I've changed. I completely changed from confusion to knowing what I want. This is awesome, Susan. Now go a step further and contemplate about how you want it. It's not just about what we want. It's also about how we want. It has to do with our integrity. And our integrity has to do with our congruence, and our congruence has to do with our centeredness. To get into a positive vision. Yes, a positive vision is something that has to do with your ego. There is no such thing as positive or negative vision. All right? If you keep getting a negative input from others or from within yourself through dreams or whatever, they're reflecting on your fears. Okay, so the way our nervous system is structured is that we deal with two major forces, and that is fear and pain. Okay, and pain relates to the past, and then fear relates to the future, and they interact with another. So basically, a negative vision is the fear of pain. Okay, so it's an anticipated pain through your ego. That's an ego. So the best way to get into a more positive vision is to work on disengaging from your ego and to transcend these ego attachments and addictions, as we call them here within the sacred self-healing community. Yes, Cheryl, thank you for pointing this out. Cheryl is commenting, catching the beginning of the end. That's something I've started writing an article about this, like 6 months ago. And this is becoming so long that I could probably write a book about this. What does this mean, the beginning of the end? Very good point. This is something we teach here within the Sacred Self-Healing community, guys. And especially, Cheryl is a heart warrior. So, she gets these regular energy coaching sessions that help her to do this. I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, Cheryl. Catching the beginning of the end is basically, of course, becoming aware of your inner patterns, becoming aware of your inner coping mechanisms, learning how to disengage from them, and then really seeing, how particular things within you, this is different for everyone. So this has to do with developing the inner lexicon of sensations, how your personal sort of downward spiral, how that starts. How does that downward spiral start? That is what catching the beginning of the end means. All right, because it's usually never really, what our ego makes us believe that it is, especially not, the blaming part and the externalization part. Those are just our ego stories. Yes, and they have to do with our addictions too. And as you all know, the way we define addictions is different from psychology or medicine, and that is that we see our ego not sort of being egotistical, but our ego in its very fundamental function, like an addiction. And so it's like I said earlier, I mentioned the distractions, justifications, blaming every time you defend something, every time you try to convince somebody or even if you try to convince yourself, every time you talking yourself into things. Okay, these are parts of your ego's attachment, your ego's addictions. And catching that at the very beginning, which for most people here that have sort of a tendency to go into mentalizations, happens at the inner dialogue level, is when we start having self-berating thoughts or judgmental thoughts. It can also be judgmental thoughts about others because, like I said before, fear and judgment and all these lower vibratory states, our energy system can't really differentiate whether this is directed at you or not. So every time you go into negative judgment or negativity about something outside of you, that can be the beginning of the end for you because it triggers your critical inner voice. And with that, your control issues with that, anger with that, fear, pain, and blame. So there's this downward spiral that gets started at some point. And if you can figure out or feel out, better say, what these reference points are, and train yourself to catch those, this big part of reprogramming yourself. Thank you, Cheryl, for bringing this up. All right, guys, I'm going to have to let you go now. I want to make one last announcement here, and that is that most of you have already heard about it, but if you haven't, Jeff Casper, Ryan McCormick, and I have a wonderful a new radio show that we started. It's called Heart Warriors Radio. It's podcast based. You can currently see 4 episodes on lip sync. And we're going to, in this following week, transfer this over to YouTube so that you can get all this there. Wonderful, wonderful episodes talking about certain subjects, not so much in the depths of the energy that we do here, but more so, helping people from all kinds of walks to decode the inner pathway or the pathway to that inner awakening. And we have lots of guests on there. We've been recording shows since October every week, so we got a lot more episodes to follow. Please join the Heart Warriors subscribers or the Heart Warriors radio subscribers. And if you like what you're seeing here, please, remember to share these videos, to share all the material. I also want to remind you to check out the transCODES forum community. There's a lot of free resources there, and of course the videos too, and all the blog articles. But there's a lot going on, guys. So I hope that you feel encouraged and empowered to handle and to deal with the next week's energies instead of coping. And I wish you a wonderful weekend with your loved ones. And I hope you can enjoy it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.